Breaking right now in a historic statement, the president has officially again recognized that genocide. Let's go to NBC's Monica Alba in Washington, D.C. So, Monica, welcome. Let's talk about what the president's saying about this today and the significance of it. It's a big deal.
Absolutely, Alex. And that's really because every U.S. leader before him had failed to get to this level. Many had acknowledged the violence, the death of more than 1 million Armenians killed more than a century ago in what is now modern-day Turkey, but they hadn't gone so far as to label it a genocide.
It took the United States more than a century to do what it should have done years ago. Recognize the Armenian Genocide as just that, a genocide. And it doesn't appear that the Turks are too happy. Welcome into TYT Overruled. I'm your host, Adrienne Lawrence. On Saturday, U.S. President Joe Biden recognized the Ottoman Empire's systematic murder of over 1 million Armenians as genocide. Now, this is something no other president has done for fear of upsetting our NATO ally Turkey, which is the modern-day nation where the genocide was carried out. In his historic speech, Biden said this: "Each year on this day, we remember the lives of all those who died in the Ottoman-era Armenian genocide and recommit ourselves to preventing such an atrocity from ever again occurring." If you're unfamiliar with how we got here, here's kind of a wiki-style background. Around the start of the 20th century, the Ottoman Empire was made up of many different ethnic and religious groups, but was largely controlled by Muslims. In 1908, a group called the Young Turks, no relation, took control of the empire and became a dictatorship by 1913. Then World War I popped off. The Ottoman government, which drafted Armenian men to fight, lost some big battles. So they decided to blame the Armenians, accusing them of siding with the enemy. From there, the Ottoman government rounded up and slaughtered an estimated 600,000 to 1.5 million Armenians, in addition to many Assyrians and Greeks. The few survivors were forced to convert to Islam or flee. While witnessing these atrocities, the U.S. ambassador to the Ottoman Empire told the State Department in a cable, "It appears that a campaign of race extermination is in progress." So the U.S. knew, but President Woodrow Wilson refused to intervene. And as the years passed, Turkey refused to admit the truth, suggesting that the slaughter was more of a civil war rather than an organized ethnic cleansing. Now, Turkey's even reportedly punished journalists and others for acknowledging the Armenian genocide. That's why the U.S. didn't want to call a spade for fear of upsetting ties with Turkey. And let's just say, the Turks already aren't responding well to Biden's historic statement.
So Turkey had a response ready for President Biden's announcement, almost immediately rejecting it and calling it political opportunism. For decades, past U.S. presidents have worried about just that kind of diplomatic tension.
When Biden travels for the first time this June for the G7 summit and the NATO summit, he is supposed to meet with Turkish President Erdogan face-to-face. Now, I'm sure Biden's statement will definitely be on the docket, and I wouldn't be surprised if Erdogan calls out Biden for the U.S.'s hypocrisy, just as Vladimir Putin recently did last month in response to Biden calling the Russian president a killer.
We always see our own qualities in other people and assume that they are just like us.
Putin accused the U.S. of past genocide, slavery, and referenced Black Lives Matter.
And I wouldn't be surprised if Turkish President Erdogan makes this same observation, too, when he meets with Biden. All said, I'm really glad the U.S. finally stepped up and acknowledged the harm the Ottoman Empire brought to the Armenians, Assyrians, and Greeks. At the same time, I do hope our nation musters the courage to confront the harms it's caused its own people, so we as a nation can begin to heal. And so we can't have old school things thrown in our face.